let's now get into this diagram here about sexual awakening, your journey of sexual awakening in this complex world, this gay world that we live in. So I'd like to share with you an example of how this has become for me. I absolutely love sex just like you do. I have nothing against it. I would love for everybody to have a lot of sex that's healthy, that's loving, that's part of closeness, that's part of your family life. It's wonderful to have all of that. But unfortunately, most of us don't have that. And our culture is so toxic that it promotes the kind of sex that makes love, closeness, family life, community life impossible. So this diagram here, this exhibit that teaches you about the sexual journey of awakening will share with you, will show you how to look sex as you get older, as you are progressing in your awareness about what is happening with your sex life. So sexuality has this journey of awareness if you're curious about it. So I'm assuming that you're curious about it. And the assumption here is that if you're curious about it, that you are willing to confront the truth about sexuality. So stage one is where you are entering to the gay world. You are in a state of ignorance. You're ignorant about the deeper aspects of sexuality. You're ignorant about the fact that sex could involve pain. You are not thinking about sex, that it can happen without love, for example. To you, sex is just, sexuality, and then you have a lover, and then you live the rest of your life. So this is the basic kind of level of ignorance, kind of naivete about sex. Yeah, sex is just sex, no big deal. But if you're curious, you can, as time passes by and your awareness increases, so this helps if you come out early in life. If you come out late in life, you have less of this because this takes time. I came out super early in life, so I was able to cook up a lot of these progressions from one stage to the next, to the next, to the next. Now I'm in the fourth stage, and I can share these stages with you. So stage number one is this naivete, sex is just sex, no big deal. Then you enter into the stage two, you realize that, oh my gosh, lots of people have sex as not part of love, that sex is outside of love. So you have this decoupling of sex and love. And that can actually be a big deal because you realize that there's this thing that called recreational sex. Sex for the sake of sex, for the sake of just getting off and being with strangers and having kinky stuff and having fetishes. And that can be surprising for people to see because that's when they realize, oh my gosh, this gay world is filled with men who take sex so seriously in terms of getting off and experimenting and compensating with it that it actually starts to break down the experience of love. And sex is now operating outside of love as a separate behavior. That's very important to realize because sex does not mean love. And that realization can be a little bit destabilizing, especially if you're looking for monogamy. If you're looking to settle down and have a lover forever, you will realize that there are certain sexual behaviors and lots of men who participate in those behaviors where love is no longer possible. But that's not all. Let's go to the level of 3. Level 3 is when you realize that it's not just that sex can operate outside of love, sex now can become part of abuse. That abuse and sex can come together. Pain and pleasure come together. Abuse and sex come together. And that level of awareness can be quite destabilizing because you realize that many men hurt each other and they don't cry about it, they don't make a big deal about it, they don't think about it. It just happens that abuse has been normalized through sexuality. That's something that often shakes people up. And that's why I put this check mark here, because usually when you notice that sex can be part of abuse, that's when you start looking at sex differently. And that's for me was when I started to look at sex differently. And once you realize that in most cases, sex is part of abuse, that's when you reach the fourth stage eventually, where you enter into this observing ego, this witness. You are looking at sex from the perspective of understanding that there are bad, disgusting, awful things that can happen with sexual behavior. And in most cases, once you get to that space, you become abstinent. So I am in that state right now. I don't look for sex. I don't remember last time I watched porn. I don't remember last time I hooked up. I do not participate in sex for the sake of getting off. I look for meaning. And because there is no meaning with the typical sex in the gay world, you become abstinent. It's like you come to realize that sex actually can hurt you so much that you would prefer to just avoid it altogether. And this is, my friends, the journey of sexual awareness, where you ultimately end up in a space where you are able to criticize sex in a healthy way. Your identity is no longer mixed with sex. You are giving yourself permission to decouple yourself from being a sex object. In fact, this journey of sexual awareness is about leaving behind your sexual persona, leaving behind the fact that objectifying yourself is no longer healthy for you.